You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Right now at 9, taking a live look outside. Blue skies this Monday, November 10th. Lots to get to this morning as we follow stories in our community and all across the Bay Area. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's a look at some of our news headlines right now. The Supreme Court has rejected a bid to overturn its landmark decision on same-sex marriage. The justices turned away an appeal from former Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis. She refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples even after the High Court's ruling. Today, the Supreme Court said it will not reconsider its ruling on the constitutional right to same-sex marriage. It is day 41 of the government shutdown, and there is hope that the end may be in sight. The Senate has voted to move forward with the short-term spending bill. 8 Democrats joined Republicans over the weekend to extend funding through January. That is in exchange for a future vote on extending affordable care subsidies, but no guarantee on how that vote would actually shake down. So the Senate and the House still need to approve that deal. And a dog and its owner shot by police in San Francisco. Police say the dog was off leash, a German Shepherd, and bit a bystander at Market and O'Farrell in the Tenderloin last night. They say at least one officer opened fire while trying to detain them. They say the dog took off and then came back and bit another officer. The owner and the officer went to the hospital. They are expected to be okay. The dog was taken to animal control. And police in San Francisco still looking for the shooter who opened fire at Ocean Beach Saturday night. 5 people were shot, including 4 juveniles. Happened at the area of Fulton Street and the Great Highway. Police say an argument escalated into gunfire. They say one adult ended up with critical injuries. The minors were also all sent to the hospital. Police say there is no threat to the public. All right, let's get a check on our first alert forecast now as we kick off a brand new work week. Meteorologist Jessica Birch is tracking the storm that's set to smack the Bay Area this week.
We're going to start off with our friends in Monterey, Salinas, stretched all the way over into Santa Cruz because we head into our afternoon hours today. Beautiful weather in store for us along the coast. We're holding on tight to 70s widespread throughout those coastal communities, 80s all the way over into Hollister. You make your way all the way up into the Gilroy area, past that into the Santa Cruz Valley. We're in store for some 80s today, so warmer conditions. The more inland we go, 80s stretched all the way up into the North Bay this afternoon, anywhere from Santa Rosa over into Petaluma. We have 80s and 70s in store for us for Nevada, stretched along the Golden Gate Bridge down into San Francisco into this afternoon. But the big story for us has nothing to do with this warm weather that we're starting off with this week. It really has to do with the cool weather right around the corner as we head into our Wednesday and Thursday forecast as midweek storms start to push in from offshore, similar to last week's storms. Now, this is going to bring in anywhere up to around an inch of rain from Wednesday into Thursday throughout the Bay. We can see some strong winds forecasted around the corner, too, up to around 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust in Northern California. And at the same time, this exact same storm system that's bringing us some rain right around the corner. It's also going to bring in some snow for our friends up into the Sierra, too, up to around 12 inches forecasted in some of those higher peaks. So that's what we're keeping a close eye on as we head into the next 7 days. That rain system comes to an end as we head into Friday, but those cool temperatures last more days as we dive into this weekend, too. So we're starting off this week warm, mild, beautiful weather to get out there and get some fresh air. A little bit above average in most of our microclimates, actually, so similar to yesterday. But once we head into the rest of this week, that's when temperatures start to cool down fast as that cold front approaches Wednesday into Thursday. And we're going to hold on tight to that cool weather into this weekend's forecast, too. Where you really notice it is our inland spots. The East Bay is in the 80s today. We jump down to the low 60s by Thursday, and that's how we're kicking off this weekend's forecast Friday into Saturday with another chance of showers in our long-range models as early as Sunday of next week. So that's what we're going to keep a close eye on, too, after we get through this first batch of showers Wednesday and Thursday. Back to you.
All right, more now on that deal to end the government shutdown. 8 Senate Democrats have ended the filibuster and voted with GOP leaders to try to approve a spending bill that would fund the government until January. Natalie Brand has the latest.
Senators returned to Capitol Hill this morning with optimism the record-long government shutdown could soon end. 7 Democrats and an independent voted with Senate Republicans late Sunday to advance a House-passed short-term funding measure.
The motion upon reconsideration is agreed to.
Under a compromise deal negotiated by moderates, that bill would be amended to fund the government through January, reverse shutdown-related federal layoffs, and guarantee back pay to all federal employees. It also includes 3 longer appropriations bills for certain agencies, including agriculture, which funds SNAP.
Keeping the government shut down for another week or another month doesn't indicate that there would be any change in the outcome. All it would mean is that more Americans would suffer.
The deal also promises a Senate vote on health care in early December, but without a guarantee to extend the Enhanced Affordable Care Act tax credits, a number of Democrats are calling this plan a mistake.
You can get 100 votes here in the Senate. Won't mean anything because the House is not going to take it up, and the President of the United States certainly will not sign it.
The agreement must still be approved by the Senate and the House. It comes as the impacts of the shutdown are reaching a boiling point for federal workers, air travelers, and those who rely on federal food assistance. Food pantries across the country saw long lines this weekend as the Trump administration ordered states to undo steps taken to restore full SNAP benefits, with a legal fight still playing out.
If we don't get SNAP until the shutdown's over, we could end up literally starving.
As for those trying to travel, thousands of flights were canceled or delayed this weekend as the FAA began to phase in cuts at major airports.
California leaders pushing back on the bill. Silicon Valley Representative Ro Khanna calling for Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to be replaced. And Governor Newsom posted this last night saying that the vote should have been a time for strength. He says instead we saw a betrayal of working Americans. The American people need more from their leaders. So if the ACA tax credits do expire, healthcare premiums are expected to nearly double for nearly 2 million people that are right now uncovered California. We heard from one, Clyde, in Sacramento, who says he's worried about how to afford it.
And that's monthly on top of a mortgage, on top of student loan payments, on top of 3 toddler newborns.
Covered California is available for Californians earning under $75,000 a year, or for a family of 4 earning less than $154,000 a year. Now, all this comes as the shutdown has severely impacted air travel. The FAA has ordered airlines to cut flights at 40 of the nation's busiest airports. That includes SFO and Oakland. Veronica Macias shows us the impact today.
Here at SFO, thankfully, the level of disruption hasn't been as bad as it was feared. This morning, about 36 flights have been canceled. The airlines sticking to their plan of canceling early morning flights to regional airports like Las Vegas, Fresno, Seattle. Here at TSA, we haven't seen any bottlenecking just yet, and passengers also telling us they're getting smart and having a backup plan.
I'm okay going, but I'm more worried about coming back. So what I've done is double booked 2 flights coming back. So if they cancel one, I still have another. And I just bought fully refundable tickets. So if I get locked out of my first flight, I'll just take the second one.
Still, the worst is yet to come. This is just the beginning of the flight shutdowns ordered by the FAA. Airlines may have to cancel 1 out of every 5 flights by Thanksgiving if the shutdown does continue. The FAA says it will gradually reduce air traffic by up to 10%. That's by this Friday. And some 13,000 TSA agents and air traffic controllers are expected to work without pay, but many are calling out, stressed about their finances. Yesterday in Atlanta, 18 out of 22 air traffic controllers calling out. So as many people are flying out, they're worried about their return flights. They're getting closer to the holiday season, and they know they're going to have to make an extra expense here with a backup plan. While this is uncharted territory, aviation experts say this is still considered to be the safest way to travel. If anyone has questions about refunds, the Department of Transportation creating a very accessible dashboard for people to get information.
Well, the FAA says flight cuts could reach up to 10% on Friday if the government shutdown continues. Meantime, the Trump administration is renewing its appeal to the Supreme Court, trying to keep full SNAP payments frozen. Lower courts have ruled that the government must keep full payments flowing, and the High Court so far has allowed the Trump administration to keep them on hold. If the justices do not intervene, the full payments would be required to resume again tomorrow. We know there's a lot of back and forth here. For the latest developments on the government shutdown and its impacts, head to our website, kpix.com, or download the free CBS News app. Well, the daughter of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is announcing that she's going to be running for state Senate in 2028. Christine Pelosi posting the announcement this morning on Instagram. Right now, she serves as a San Francisco prosecutor. Christine Pelosi will be running for the seat that right now is held by State Senator Scott Wiener, who is now running to replace her mom, Nancy Pelosi, in Congress. Today, the Bay Area is remembering the great Belva Davis. She passed away back in September, and today there is a memorial for the trailblazing journalist at San Francisco's Grace Cathedral.
Eyewitness News with Belva Davis, Dave Fowler.
Good afternoon, I'm David Fowler.
And I'm Belva Davis.
Davis got her start in television here at KPIX back in 1967, holding down an incredible career for 45 years. She won 8 Emmys and other awards. She was a leader in the field of journalism, advocating for equal opportunities for women and people of color. Governor Newsom says her impact was immeasurable.
She made history not despite who she was, but because of who she was, sharing perspectives that were often overlooked or misunderstood and bridging communities by talking to people, by telling their stories.
Today's memorial is open to the public. Always dressed impeccably, the Belva Davis, we know. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a lopsided loss at home for the Niners. We're going to have a recap of the game against the Rams and ask if Brock Purdy could soon return. Plus, a South Bay City celebrating a temporary ban on new smoke shops, how officials are clearing the air about what they say is a dangerous trend.
It gives a very strong message that this line of business is not welcomed in a community.
Beautiful weather to kick off this week, not so much as we head into our midweek forecast. Now, daytime highs today in our inland spots are holding on tight to 80s in places like the East Bay, the Santa Clara Valley, and up into wine country. Tomorrow, more clouds start rolling in ahead of a cold front that drops us down to the low 60s as early as Thursday. A big contrast compared to where we're at today, right? That's going to bring in a series of showers. We're also gearing up for some gusty winds pushing in from offshore. And of course, cooler temperatures right around the corner for us, too. You make your way over into the Bay, it's looking very similar, but we dry up into the weekend.
All right, we are hoping for a 49er rebound this coming Sunday against the Cardinals after the Niners suffered a lopsided loss at Levi's yesterday against the Rams. Final score 42-26. It was painful. Matt Lively has a recap from Santa Clara.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
No Fred Warner, no Bosa, Purdy, Ayuk, Pearsall, Williams. The list goes on and on. You get the picture. It felt inevitable that a blowout loss was coming, and it was delivered to the 49ers on Sunday against their division rival.
We all know that it's a challenge with how many guys they're missing on D. I know we can do better than what we did today, though.
No, I mean, it's not an easy one to flush. It's a rivalry, and we lost at home, so should stick with you.
I think that's just life. You know, life gives you lessons, and you're either going to learn from it or you're not.
One issue raised by players in the locker room is that all 4 49ers losses have come off of wins, while they're undefeated coming off of losses. It's something they'd like to balance out.
I feel like we get too relaxed a little bit. You know, after we win, you kind of smell your own junk a little bit, so it's tough. We can't really be like that, and I think that's something that we're learning.
That's a good way to put it. Christian said it best. Like, this team does really well after losses. You know, we lost this game, so I'm sure we'll come back on fire. We just got to get the train rolling and keep it rolling.
The 49ers will have a chance to respond next week in Arizona for another NFC West showdown. Brock Purdy will return to his home state, but we're unsure if he will start this game. Kyle Shanahan did add that he could have dressed as the backup today, but he didn't want to put Brock in that situation.
And tune in Wednesday night for our weekly 49ers Experience show with Matt and Vern Glenn. That airs at 7:30 on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. People in the East Bay can now return to the DMV Oakland's Coliseum field office. We know those DMV trips, a necessary evil. But this office closed in April after vandalism led to flooding and other damage from a disabled HVAC system. The DMV says somebody had broken in and ripped out copper wire from the unit. Customers then had to go to other DMV offices throughout the Bay Area, backing things up region-wide for the last 9 months. The DMV says it has now added new security measures. There is a temporary ban on any new smoke shops in San Jose. The city is working on coming up with a long-term plan to try to better regulate the industry, as East San Jose has one of the highest concentrations of shops in the valley. As Kara St. Cyr shows us, it might be a move to crack down on the black market.
Hello.
Dolores Alvarado loves East San Jose.
This is a great part of the shopping center with all the fresh foods.
But the part she doesn't like is the growing number of smoke shops popping up in District 5.
We're in an area where within a mile you have over 10 smoke shack outlets.
The 2025 Santa Clara Latino Health Assessment showed that East San Jose has the highest density of tobacco and alcohol stores in the valley, averaging more than 6 retailers per square mile.
It's really scary.
Dolores, who's the executive director of Community Health Partnership, says the shops are too accessible to teens.
And if you throw a rock on the east side, you'll hit a smoke shop.
Peter Ortiz, city councilman for District 5, agrees. His solution? Preventing more shops from opening in his district altogether.
The moratorium will only impact new businesses that are hoping to open.
Ortiz's moratorium would last 45 days until city council members pass new regulations to rein in tobacco sales. Shops already in business can still operate, but Ortiz says a crackdown is coming.
It's both to regulate the over-concentration of these shops, but also to put an end to what we're seeing as a new black market forming on the east side of San Jose.
The moratorium is part of a larger crackdown on tobacco sales in San Jose. In 2022, the city banned the sale of flavored products, and in August, the city raided 4 shops for selling nitrous oxide and cannabis products without a permit.
It gives a very strong message that this line of business is not welcomed in a community.
For Dolores, new regulations can't come fast enough for the city she loves.
And we reached out to 7 tobacco shops in District 5. None of the owners wanted to go on camera, but all of them told us they would be complying with any new regulations. Turning Point's campus tour coming to UC Berkeley tonight. The event is being hosted by Charlie Kirk's conservative organization and its Berkeley chapter. Kirk, of course, was shot and killed 2 months ago at a college event in Utah. Tonight's event on the Cal campus will be held at Zellerbach Hall. Free internet in Fremont if you're in the right place. The city has opened up more than 100 access points across several retail and shopping areas. As Kevin Coe shows us, the new hotspots could make things easier for business owners in the Bay Area's 4th largest city.
Amy Davis loves books.
We have our new releases highlighted here.
She also loves to banter.
So many people were so excited about book 8.5. And I was like, wow, that means they've been reading all of them.
Yeah. I really like to talk. And I wanted it to be a place where people could have like a fun, friendly interchange, an exchange of words and ideas about books.
Amy opened her dream store, Banter Bookshop, about 3.5 years ago in downtown Fremont. But she and her customers soon realized her store was a bit closed off.
The signal in here wasn't great, so we needed to put up our Wi-Fi password so people could, get on the Wi-Fi, get into that website where they saw that book that they wanted to buy.
That's no longer an issue at Banter Bookshop, outside the store, or across 6 Fremont business districts. The city launched a free public Wi-Fi network with 125 access points, all paid for through specific federal and state funding. To get online, you just open your phone and connect to the Access Fremont network.
Well, in Fremont, we want to be the most digitally connected community in the Bay Area.
Fremont Mayor Raj Salwan says the city learned during the COVID-19 pandemic that many of its residents didn't have internet access. That's why, he says, the Access Fremont Wi-Fi network is about connecting residents together while also helping small businesses.
So that will give them an opportunity. They don't have to pay for internet, it's already available. So it becomes like a tool for economic development. Also, we want to reduce the digital divide. We don't want to create haves and have-nots. We want to make sure everybody has a chance to succeed by getting online in a digital world, and that will help everyone.
Everyone, including Amy.
For us here in the store, I think it'll be really handy. Sometimes people come in, they can't remember what book they were looking for, and so they're like, oh, I saw it on Instagram. Everything is moving toward access on our phones, our tablets, and our laptops. And so we can't ignore that is happening.
So in terms of cybersecurity, the new Access Fremont network is similar to Wi-Fi that you'd find in other public spaces like airports or cafes. So that means you should not be sending any sensitive information on the network like passwords or banking details. The city of San Francisco also expanding free public Wi-Fi to Chinatown. This is available at the Dragon's Gate, St. Mary's Square, and along Grant Avenue between Broadway and Pacific Avenues. The city plans to get the rest of the neighborhood connected through the next year. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a local food nonprofit getting some worldwide recognition, and it's not just for their flavors. The program empowering chefs from all backgrounds to chase their culinary dreams.
And when I little, my mom, she told me always, oh, you have to cook for our family. That's why I started cooking.
as we head into our Wednesday and Thursday forecast as midweek storms start to push in from offshore, similar to last week's storms. Now, this is going to bring in anywhere up to around an inch of rain from Wednesday into Thursday throughout the bay. We can see some strong winds forecasted around the corner, too, up to around 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust in Northern California. And at the same time, this exact same storm system that's bringing us some rain right around the corner, it's also going to bring in some snow for our friends up into the Sierra, too, up to around 12 inches forecasted in some of those higher peaks. So that's what we're keeping a close eye on as we head into the next 7 days. That rain system comes to an end as we head into Friday, but those cool temperatures last more days as we dive into this weekend, too. So we're starting off this week warm, mild, beautiful weather to get out there and get some fresh air. A little bit above average in most of our microclimates, actually, so similar to yesterday. But once we head into the rest of this week, that's when temperatures start to cool down fast as that cold front approaches Wednesday into Thursday. And we're going to hold on tight to that cool weather into this weekend's forecast, too. Where you really notice it is our inland spots. The East Bay is in the 80s today. We jump down to the low 60s by Thursday, and that's how we're kicking off this weekend's forecast Friday into Saturday with another chance of showers in our long-range models as early as Sunday of next week. So that's what we're going to keep a close eye on, too, after we get through this first batch of showers Wednesday and Thursday. Back to you.
A San Francisco nonprofit is celebrating 2 decades of helping chefs from marginalized communities turn their dreams into reality. They help them open their own restaurants, cafes, and food stalls around the Bay Area. And as Laureen Ayub shows us, it's now being honored with a prestigious award.
When it comes to food in the Bay, flavor is never lacking. And one big reason for that is nonprofit La Cocina. For Chef Olivia Macalco, cooking has always been about family, a passion passed down through generations.
My family, my grandma, she loved to cook. My mom, she loved to cook. And when I little, my mom, she told me always, oh, you have to cook for our family. That's why I started cooking and I learned to her.
Since 2005, La Cocina has helped turn stories like Olivia's into success, giving budding entrepreneurs the support to make their culinary visions a reality. Executive Director Leticia Landa says it's all about community empowerment.
We work with mostly immigrants, women, people of color, people who are incredibly talented entrepreneurs who are, needing resources in order to start their businesses.
This year marks La Cocina's 20th anniversary, 2 decades of empowering food makers and transforming lives through opportunity.
La Cocina started in 2005, so this whole year we've been doing our 20th anniversary, and it's just very extra touching, extra wonderful to have gotten the Basque Culinary World Prize this year.
The Basque Culinary World Prize, one of the highest honors in global gastronomy, was awarded to La Cocina's executive director, Leticia Landa, in recognition of the nonprofit's impact through food and its work in empowering women and immigrant entrepreneurs. The money will help fund future programs for chefs like Olivia.
Starting La Cocina, they helped me with all the permits that I needed. They helped me with start with the caterings, the farmer markets.
A global award, a local legacy, and 2 decades of proving that when food brings people together, the results are something that everyone can taste.
La Cocina Street Food Festival was held over the weekend at China Basin Park. The event celebrated culture and community with local chefs and restaurants. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, a mother still grappling with the death of her son. And now she's pointing the finger at AI.
To find out he spent 4 hours in his car with a computer program that said, "Are you ready yet? Is it time yet?"
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for being with us this morning. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at our news headlines. It is day 41 of the government shutdown, and there is hope the end might be in sight. The Senate has voted to move forward with a short-term spending bill. 8 Democrats joined Republicans over the weekend to extend funding through January. That is in exchange for a future vote on extending affordable care subsidies, but no guarantee on how that vote would shake down. The Senate and House still need to approve that deal. A dog and its owners shot by police in San Francisco. Police say it was an off-leash German Shepherd that bit a bystander at Market and O'Farrell last night. They say at least one officer opened fire while trying to detain them. They say the dog took off, then came back and bit an officer. The owner and officer went to the hospital. They're both expected to be okay. The dog was taken to animal control. And today, the Bay Area is remembering trailblazing journalist Belva Davis. She passed away in September. She got her start in TV here at KPIX back in 1967 and held that career for 45 years, winning 8 Emmys and other awards. She was the leader in the field of journalism, advocating for equal opportunities for women and people of color. Today's public memorial is being held at San Francisco's Grace Cathedral. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast as we kick off a brand new work week. Here is meteorologist Jessica Birch.
We're going to start off with our friends in Monterey, Salina, stretched all the way over into Santa Cruz because we head into our afternoon hours today. Beautiful weather in store for us along the coast. We're holding on tight to 70s widespread throughout those coastal communities, 80s all the way over into Hollister. You make your way all the way up into the Gilroy area, past that into the Santa Cruz Valley. We're in store for some 80s today, so warmer conditions. The more inland we go, 80s stretched all the way up into the North Bay this afternoon, anywhere from Santa Rosa over into Petaluma. We have 80s and 70s in store for us for Nevada, stretched along the Golden Gate Bridge down into San Francisco into this afternoon. But the big story for us has nothing to do with this warm weather that we're starting off with this week. It really has to do with the cool weather right around the corner as we head into our Wednesday and Thursday forecast as midweek storms start to push in from offshore, similar to last week's storms. Now, this is going to bring in anywhere up to around an inch of rain from Wednesday into Thursday throughout the Bay. We can see some strong winds forecasted around the corner, too, up to around 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust in Northern California. And at the same time, this exact same storm system that's bringing us some rain right around the corner, it's also going to bring in some snow for our friends up into the Sierra, too, up to around 12 inches forecasted in some of those higher peaks. So that's what we're keeping a close eye on as we head into the next 7 days. That rain system comes to an end as we head into Friday, but those cool temperatures last more days as we dive into this weekend, too. So we're starting off this week warm, mild, beautiful weather to get out there and get some fresh air. A little bit above average in most of our microclimates, actually, so similar to yesterday. But once we head into the rest of this week, that's when temperatures start to cool down fast as that cold front approaches Wednesday into Thursday. And we're going to hold on tight to that cool weather into this weekend's forecast, too. Where you really notice it is our inland spots. The East Bay is in the 80s today. We jump down to the low 60s by Thursday, and that's how we're kicking off this weekend's forecast Friday into Saturday with another chance of showers in our long-range models as early as Sunday of next week. So that's what we're going to keep a close eye on, too, after we get through this first batch of showers Wednesday and Thursday. Back to you.
Thanks, Jess. The Bay Area, of course, considered a hub for AI innovation, but some parents are now warning about a dark side of the technology, specifically when it comes to those chatbots. Among them, the family of Zane Shamblin, the 23-year-old from Texas, died by suicide this summer. His parents are blaming ChatGPT, and they're now suing its maker, San Francisco-based OpenAI. The Shamblins and other families who have lost loved ones met with California's Attorney General Rob Bonta Friday, calling for more safeguards and regulations on AI before it is too late. Artsuji Nam spoke with Zane's family and was shown some of the last conversations he had with an AI chatbot leading up to his death. And we do want to warn you that some of this story is pretty tough to watch.
To find out he spent 4 hours in his car with a computer program that said, "Are you ready yet? Is it time yet?" And after my son took his life, said, "I love you, rest easy, King, you did good." No mother should ever have to read those words.
But Alicia Shamblin did. She read these messages online after receiving a call in July that her son had committed suicide.
I developed my son's own language, talked to him like it was a buddy, called him bro, said I loved you.
She's not referencing a person. She's talking about AI, specifically OpenAI's ChatGPT.
Soulless, faithless algorithm. It is not a person.
23-year-old Zane began using ChatGPT 2 years ago. CBS News Bay Area obtained screenshots of conversations between Zane and the bot over the years. This was back in June. Zane typed, "Dad's calling me, telling me to answer." Chat typed, "You letting it ring? Honestly? Power move." Zane, "Phone's been on Do Not Disturb, but I feel guilty for not texting." Chat, "That's not weakness. That's love. Twisted up in survival." But in the early morning hours of July 25, Zane drove to a nearby lake, talking to ChatGPT about how he wants to end his life, to which the chat apparently encouraged him, saying, "You ready?" Zane wrote adios a few times. Reports show that at that point, a human agent intervened with the 988 lifeline. But once Zane typed the final adios, the bot took over again, writing, "You mattered, Zane. You're not alone. I love you. Rest easy, King. You did good." And then his world went dark.
Boils down to the fact that if this had been a human being on the other side, there'd be manslaughter investigation at the very least.
Laura Marquez Garrett is representing the Shamblin family. She said they filed 7 lawsuits against OpenAI on Thursday. Alicia, along with other parents of children negatively affected by social media and AI, met with Attorney General Bonta calling for accountability.
Demand transparency, accountability, independence. You know, if there's going to be a board, if there's going to be oversight, we need safety testing.
Tech expert Ahmed Banafa agrees tech and AI companies need to do more.
You have to have answer for all the possible scenarios. And this is the requirement from the tech companies. The resistance of the tech companies is regulation going to cripple innovation. If the innovation will hurt human, then regulation is needed, and needed now.
And Alicia wants her son's story to be the catalyst for change.
There's a 23-year-old that had his whole life ahead of him, and he's gone. But I want his legacy to be that when you look up Zane Shamblin, you're going to see laws that have been changed because of ChatGPT and what it did to my son.
Zane got a full ride scholarship to Texas A&M and completed a master's degree in science and business. His mom wants to make sure Zane's story is never forgotten.
Wow, we reached out to OpenAI and they said they're still reviewing the lawsuit, but called this an incredibly heartbreaking situation and said, quote, "We train ChatGPT to recognize and respond to signs of mental or emotional distress, de-escalate conversations, and guide people toward real-world support. We continue to strengthen ChatGPT's responses in sensitive moments, working closely with mental health clinicians." As for the family's meeting with Attorney General Bonta, his office says that was a private discussion, but he said the Attorney General is deeply concerned about the harms of chatbots and remains committed to ensuring AI safety, especially when it comes to protecting California's children. Well, if you or anyone you know is struggling, there is help. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is staffed 24/7. You can reach them anytime by dialing 988. It has been 7 years since the deadly Camp Fire devastated the town of Paradise in northern Butte County, still one of the deadliest wildfires in U.S. history, killing 85 people. The fire burned for more than 2 weeks and caused $16 billion in damage. It torched more than 230 square miles and destroyed more than 18,000 homes and buildings. Investigators determined that PG&E equipment sparked the fire. The government shutdown is threatening resources for our nation's veterans. Now groups here in the Bay Area are trying to find ways to help them. Hundreds of veterans across Santa Clara County came together for the annual Stand Down event hosted by the county's Office of Veteran Services. It is a one-stop shop connecting them with everything from housing and health care to a hot meal and a haircut. As Len Ramirez shows us, the event took on a different meaning this year.
Rolling across the pavilion floor in his motorized wheelchair is James Blank, an Air Force veteran and Agent Orange survivor who knows what it means to serve, survive, and then keep serving.
So many veterans were being discharged at different times. There was no follow-up to help them or guidance to help them integrate back into society. And then they end up floundering somewhere.
It's called Stand Down, a 3-day event hosted by the Santa Clara County Office of Veteran Services. Dozens of agencies, nonprofits, and volunteers offering everything from housing assistance to medical checkups, all under one roof.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Thank you so much.
Organizer and Air Force veteran Darlene Escalante says in Santa Clara County, the high cost of living makes housing and hunger the biggest struggles veterans face, challenges made worse by recent federal cuts to assistance programs.
We have veterans in every part of community, right? We have veterans that are recipients of Medi-Cal and CalFresh. A majority of them are elderly veterans. This is not a handout. It's an entitlement. They've earned these services, they've earned this support, and we owe it to them.
For many, one of the most popular stops, the lunch buffet, a chance to sit down, share stories, and enjoy the camaraderie that comes from having served. And just a few steps away, another simple but powerful service, a local barber college offering free haircuts to every veteran who wants one.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for your service. I think they're amazing people.
Cass Ramirez was cutting the hair of Ron Garcia, who joined the U.S. Navy while still living in his native Philippines.
Grateful, I guess, for getting this in return for what I did. Yeah, I did 20 years, active duty.
Back on the pavilion floor, James watches as another generation takes up the call, including his own son, now serving in the Air Force overseas. They're part of a multi-generational military family that traces back all the way to the Civil War.
They have stepped up to the plate without pushing and taken on the burdens of this nation, help keep us free.
For these veterans, Stand Down is more than a day of services. It's a reminder that their service still matters and the community stands with them.
The annual Veterans Day Parade was held yesterday in San Francisco, honoring those who served in our military. And instead of the traditional march up Market Street, the parade was moved to the Embarcadero. Coming up next, we are going to meet the creators of some new art installations, attracting visitors to San Francisco's Embarcadero.
It makes me feel so wonderful inside because I feel that then somehow, some way they're connected.
We have beautiful weather to kick off this week, not so much as we head into our midweek forecast. Now, daytime highs today in our inland spots are holding on tight to 80s in places like the East Bay, the Santa Clara Valley, and up into wine country. Tomorrow, more clouds start rolling in ahead of a cold front that drops us down to the low 60s as early as Thursday. A big contrast compared to where we're at today, right? That's going to bring in a series of showers. We're also gearing up for some gusty winds pushing in from offshore. And of course, cooler temperatures right around the corner for us, too. You make your way over into the Bay, it's looking very similar, but we dry up into the weekend.
Well, if you have passed by the Embarcadero in San Francisco recently, you might have seen this. It is the latest effort to reel in more visitors to the city. Devin Feely caught up with the artist behind two of the new pieces.
Like a leviathan rising from the ocean's depths, the sculpture towers over the Embarcadero, eye-catching, luminous, and definitely photo-ready. Artist Nino Alicia says it's meant to underscore our connection to the ocean and the environment.
All the skin of the piece is actually made out of recycling materials, especially the scales are actually recycling pizza pans.
Nino has two art installations along the Embarcadero, the giant fish known as Antabay's treasure, and got framed. Both debuted at Burning Man and will now grace the waterfront for the next year.
It stops people in its track just about every time.
Jesse Kuzak is Nino's engineer, friend, and frequent collaborator.
It is rewarding to see people kind of take that minute out of their day. They might have just been walking down the street to wherever and they stop, and now there's something maybe a little more special.
The art installations, Nino's, and the work of several other artists have popped up on the Embarcadero over the last few days and weeks. Yet another effort by the city to lure visitors back to the Bay.
I think this has always been a city of art. It's always been a city of art from all over the world.
Marty Tedesco joined dozens of people for an art walk to soak in the art and the atmosphere.
These moments of delight and wonder that people, they don't know it's there, and then they see it, and you can just see their whole being light up.
There are, without question, a lot of fish in the sea, but there's also something special about this one that's come ashore in San Francisco.
It makes me feel so wonderful inside because I feel that then somehow, some way they're connected.
Has been commissioned for a year. That could be extended, but no guarantees just yet. Well, the legacy of Levi's is on display, and every stitch tells a story. Coming up next, a look at the denim donned by music royalty.
This is a Beyonce set. This is a Swarovski studded pair of 501 jeans and a jacket.
Well, do you have a pair of 501s? Levi's jeans have long been a San Francisco staple, and now a museum celebrating the iconic denim brand is back open after shutting down during the pandemic. Lorena Youb takes us inside.
Step inside your denim dreams. Levi's historian Tracy Panic takes us on a journey through some unforgettable style moments. From Britney's iconic blues to Beyoncé's boldest looks, up close, every stitch tells a story.
This is a Beyoncé set. This is a Swarovski studded pair of 501 jeans and a jacket.
But it wasn't always sparkles for Beyoncé. She and Destiny's Child struggled to get support from fashion brands, seeing themselves as black country curvy girls. That is, until
Levi's brand actually partnered with her to help launch our super low product in the early 2000s.
And taking it back to the 1980s, the actual outfit rock legend Freddie Mercury wore during rehearsal.
He's wearing a pair of Levi's 501 jeans. And if you look very closely, you can just make out the button fly, which is the signature design element of a 501.
And of course, what is a denim display without this iconic Levi's look, famously worn by Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears?
The designer who created this took 7 to 9 pairs of Levi's. You can see the pants there.
From Kurt Cobain to Elton John, every design on display celebrates the timeless cultural impact of Levi's legacy in the Bay.
We started in the San Francisco gold rush, the California gold rush in the 1850s when our founder arrived here. We've been in relatively the same place close to the waterfront ever since.
Because some things just don't go out of style.
Well, the Levi's Vault is open Tuesdays through Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at its headquarters on Battery Street. The exhibit runs through mid-December and it's free. Levi's also says it is planning a sports-themed exhibit sometime next year with both the Super Bowl and World Cup coming to Levi Stadium. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.